and welcome to another episode of the Decade's Best Podcast. Grant had been very due diligent at watching and getting in the frame of mind to do some movies that I was slacking on since the last time we did one of these. And then we both saw the same movie, and it's a new release.
Crazy.
And I think it's worth considering for the next Decade's Best Movies. So we decided to talk about that. One of these days, we'll talk Guillermo.
Oh,
well, maybe we can just pocket it until he'll have a new movie next year.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? Something Alley.
Oh,
it's got Kate Blanchett. And
I think I did see this.
It's like about carnival freaks. BC's in it. It's got a great cast.
BC? What was that?
Bradley Cooper.
Oh,
come on.
That's BC.
That's what I said. BC.
No, I mean, I didn't. It was in disbelief. I was saying that. What about Brandy Carlisle? What does she get?
Not BC.
Apparently not.
Yeah, we are going to talk about Christopher Nolan's latest, Tenet, which Grant and I both managed to see at our local drive-ins.
How far did you have to drive?
30 miles. San Jose. So just the south end of our bay, basically. So
it was like,
how far is your drive?
It was Belleville, so
Belleville.
About the same,
That's
I guess.
Probably took a little bit longer, maybe. There's no traffic during COVID time, so yeah. This was like easily in my top 3 most anticipated movies of the year. And if
not a lot of competition these days.
Well, but I mean, like when I made the list before all of this happened.
Oh, you didn't see this coming? I knew this would happen.
Before, at the new year, it was probably this. What's the French Dispatch was number 1 for sure.
That should be good. But
I don't think that's coming out this year anymore. They haven't officially announced. They took it off the calendar, and it's never coming back until this is over. It seems like that seems to be Disney's new strategy. But this, and probably Charlie Kaufman's movie, I'm Thinking of Ending Things, were probably my 3 most anticipated movies. So I've now got to see 2 of those. And spoiler for I'm Thinking of Ending Things. That film is my number 1 movie of this year and would definitely be up for consideration if Grant can steal Netflix from somebody. We'll talk about that one.
I thought that was a TV show. Whoops.
No, Charlie Kaufman.
That's less of a time commitment. I can. Oh yeah, I can snatch Netflix.
2 hours and 17 minutes.
So sure.
Yeah, you can even convince a movie night to maybe watch it. I don't know if you guys still do that these times, but
COVID times we haven't brought it back yet. It's coming back soon, though. I think.
Okay, but yes, we're here to talk about Tenet, which is Christopher Nolan's latest after Dunkirk, a movie. I don't know if Grant and I ever discussed.
You
in podcast
gave a scathing review, and I was
destroyed it on the website.
And I was like, watch it again, and you're gonna like it.
And now I would firmly put it as my second favorite Christopher Nolan movie.
I was surprised that you're number 1. Christopher Nolan
love
movie.
Walking out of Inception.
Oh yeah,
I was blown away.
It was a great feeling. But that's funny, is you didn't even like the top.
Oh, I fucking hate the top. I mean,
so that's why I kind of left with a little pep in my step. Because I was kind of like such a fun moment, and the entire audience just gasped, and it was a great moment.
I quickly settled on if the top kept spinning, it actually would. I've decided the top falls over, basically.
You tell yourself whatever you need to say.
I don't want any ambiguity to it. I've just decided it has fallen over because it would really make me mad if it was still spinning.
Whatever you need to hear, buddy.
But no, Dunkirk, the editing really threw me off. And then I rewatched it at home in 4K, beautiful Blu-ray. So it was still a great experience. And yes, I grew to love that movie. And I love all of his movies. I think outside, I have never seen Following. Have you ever seen Following?
I did.
You did?
Interesting thing about Following is there's a little Batman reference in there.
Oh, yeah?
And it's oh my gosh. Like we had to stop the movie. It was like so jarring. It was like, oh my god.
I don't think I've seen Insomnia in a very long time either, though.
Yeah, see, that's what I was wondering.
Well over 10 years, I think.
I don't think it's going to be anything close to the rest. To tell you the truth. Anyway,
yeah.
but Following
was
cool. It just you could tell he's kind of working on things.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth a watch, but don't expect too much out of it because. Mm-hmm. It's just some things aren't totally worked out as to like how he does his, I don't know, how the characters flow together and things like that. It's lacking something, but it still asks some interesting questions like all his movies do.
I hear it is, and I hear like you can see the potential that
absolutely. which is why he got a big. That's why he got a big check for the next one. I mean, you got
not Memento. Memento was. I mean, big check compared to Following, but still pretty paltry.
He gets the stars from The Matrix to be in his next movie.
That's true.
It's a big deal.
And Memento we just did for the podcast. I don't think I published that one yet. But
I was surprised how low you had Memento.
Yeah, I mean,
I know you're saying 4 through 7 or whatever it was.
But I also think ultimately I think I prefer him on a bigger scale. Like I love that. I mean, he's one of the few directors along with like a Spielberg or
yeah, I was gonna say, what are you gonna say next?
I'm just trying to think of who works. I mean, Fincher works at a budget of this big, but he doesn't go for this kind of scale.
No. I mean, the Batman stunts, the truck flipping over. I mean, that's incredible.
What it comes down to is Nolan and Spielberg are the two best big giant budget putting things on the screen that you've never really seen before directors there are.
James Cameron, right, maybe, right?
James Cameron for sure, but he's made one movie in the last 20 years. So
Avatar movies take a long time to plan. Okay, the plot is very complex,
or 4 of them, I guess. But so I think that's where to circle back and put a button on Memento. Memento is still great. I was probably underrating it a little bit on the rewatch. I think that movie, out of any of his movies, relies the most on its first viewing. Nah, that's probably a lie.
Yeah,
but I think because rewatching the movie, I know that movie by heart too. Like, I watched it so much throughout the years.
Did you ever watch it in chronological?
I had the DVD that lets you do that, and it works really well that way too. I will say, in contrast, and it'll be interesting to note if you agree, I think Tenet is his funniest movie since Memento. Like, those eyes tell me everything. I was laughing a lot watching this movie.
I mean, Neil
right ways.
Neil gave some good. Pattinson gave some good jokes.
Even John David Washington.
No, don't give me the. I ordered my hot sauce half an hour ago. That's a terrible line. Great.
I loved it. He was definitely doing some low key Denzel vibes, but it also felt his own. He had
it's just hard. The voice is exactly the same as Denzel. It's hard. It's gonna be hard for him to escape that. It's not. I don't think he's doing an impression. It's just he's got the same voice.
It's just DNA.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed his swagger and like the comedy. By the way, we're gonna go full spoilers for Tenet during this conversation. I thought he was funny in the way he fought. Both of his like solo fights, that hand-to-hand fights he has some good comedic beats in.
What's another comedic beat in a fight? I'm trying to remember.
I think I don't know, just the way he carried himself in the kitchen fight was really good. I thought.
Yeah, that didn't work for me.
And I thought there was humor to his like this again. It's like that swagger. It was like funny watching him beat the shit out of these guys and grating half their face off with a cheese grater. That is a pretty boss move. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not gonna discount the cheese grater. Cheese grater was nice, but the rest of that fight just was dumb and.
No, I really like that fight. And then the hallway fight, he gives a great when he fights himself, his inverted self.
Sure.
He gives some great looks in the first go, or obviously the first go around because you can't really see his face in the second one. But in the first time we see the fight, I think he gets some good looks as they're like mimicking each other and like kind of mirroring each other.
It'd be good to watch that again, like knowing kind of where it's going.
At what point we kind of go all over the place here?
When they put on the masks, when they put on the outfits, and they're walking by the airplane, I was like, oh.
I put it together. I guess they were still in the truck, but I was like, oh, I didn't feel dumb at all for not realizing it. Like, even in the moment, I figured it was going to be someone else. But you know what is even better? Like, oh my God moment is when the inverted version goes into the switch and then jumps out of the other side and you realize, oh, it was just one guy the whole time. I was like, oh my gosh, that's fucking brilliant.
There's a lot of good little touches there. The bullets were great also because, well, I mean, on both ends, when you realize even before he says it, like, these bullets have not been fired yet.
Yeah.
That was great. And then the fact that the reason he was firing the bullets was apparently to empty the clip.
Yeah, I don't even. Yeah, I mean it's funny they remember that. I don't even. I was actually thinking. I was like, when did they see the bullets fire? But I guess it's because it's at the end of that fight.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He storms in. His invert himself storms in, right, and then they have the tussle with the gun, and then he jumps out, and Neil chases the other one. Yes, or the same guy.
Yeah.
Same one. Yeah, I don't know. That was a long diatribe away from talking about. I thought this movie was funny, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll wrap up my feelings. I really loved the movie. I fully embraced Fleur Delacour, Harry Potter reference in the Tenet, the blonde Tenet lady.
Why? It's not actually Fleur, is it?
Yeah, that's who it is. It's
no
Fleur
way.
Delacour. Yeah,
I didn't remember her being that tall.
She
was in Widows. I liked her in Widows.
She said no, not Elizabeth Debicki.
Who are we talking about?
The woman who worked at Tenet, that he does the bullet thing.
That girl. Yeah, I could totally see that being girl.
Yeah.
Fleur. Yeah,
I totally embrace the don't think about it, feel it.
I know. I thought it was a little bit corny because I'm like, it's like in Austin Powers where he's like, "Don't worry about it, Austin," and you guys don't worry about it either.
But it's also Looper too, like don't worry about any of this time.
I like the way
shit.
Looper did it better.
Oh,
I mean, don't try to fucking understand this shit. Whatever he said.
I agree. Looper did it better, but like Nolan is telling you how to watch this movie, and while the Redditors of the world, Nolan Redditors, Nolan heads are going to act like they're so sophisticated for understanding. I actually don't think it was that big of an accomplishment to follow the plot. I felt like I stayed with it pretty well the whole time. And actually, it was fun being in my car. Like, I normally would never talk in a movie. But being in my car, I was able to just chat with Amy. I'd be like, oh, this is what's happening. And it was kind of fun to banter and like get excited about all that stuff. I even accepted a text because we saw it with some other friends who were in another car. Mm-hmm. And they got back to the airport, she sent the like brain exploding emoji.
I'll have to watch it when on the rewatch. I'll have to see how much of it was our viewing situation, because we had a little bit of speaker issue. We were watching it in like folding chairs, and somebody had their car on next to us. And it was like really nice outside. So it was hard to hear what was being said, but I've heard other people complain about that as well. So I don't know how much.
Yeah, there has been a lot of complaints about it. Granted, like, I couldn't tell you half the shit Kenneth Branagh said over the walkie-talkie at the finale of the movie.
No, I didn't really catch that either. But I could.
But I mean, you get the gist of it. You get the gist of it, and I don't know. Like, I wasn't worried about any of that stuff, and that could have been also like. Obviously, I threw like presentation out the window as something I was going to worry about watching this movie. I was excited to be back watching a movie in a movie theater, quote unquote. Obviously, people's headlights popped on and taillights flashed. And like you said, modern cars turn on and off on their own and throw things off. And I don't know. I didn't let any of that bother me. But to be honest, like I thought the sound was pretty damn good at my theater. So like you said, maybe it was a local thing. I mean, a lot of people review. This takes me back to, not get on a tangent. This takes me back to all the people that bitched and moaned about 3D looking shitty. And it was clearly just a case of all these people were going to see their press screenings at the shittiest movie theater possible and with shitty bulbs, and it looked like crap. And if it was done properly, but I don't know if that was happening here. But yeah, so I loved it. I think I read Grant's review after I saw it, and I got the impression you appreciated it.
Yeah,
but
there were
not
parts
quite
of it,
sure where to embrace it.
There were parts of it that were great. Like the opening scene was great. The airport scene,
which I came running into. They had commercials going. And I was like, all right, I'm going to take one more pee in. And then I came back and it was like,
what's the first thing you saw?
The movie started. It was before anybody got into, like, nobody in the opera house had gotten knocked out before I got to the car. So,
because it was a good moment with the patches in the van. So if you didn't see that,
I did miss that.
It was pretty cool.
Okay. because it definitely when like they were referencing these patches a lot during the thing, and that makes sense now that I definitely must have missed something.
Well, they just had like they didn't know who was going to respond to the attack, so they just had like 3 or 4 different patches on hand, so they can give that to the team, so they can match everybody else.
Oh, because they're supposed to be changing. They don't know who they're supposed to be. Very cool. Did you assume it was before we get to your take? Did you assume it was Pattinson the first time you watched it? Who the inverted person was?
No. Apparently,
I think I only assumed that because obviously, who else was it going to be? But at the same time, all right. We'll get into that in a minute. I have a logistical question. Not that we're supposed to think about it, but you go. Tell us.
Yeah. So my main issue was just that the screenplay was just a little bit weak, and
in what way?
In the characters. I should say the character development was weak. Screenplay was dealing with a lot of
agree. I can agree with you there.
You
don't get to know much about anybody,
and obviously the protagonist worked a lot better for you than he did for me. So
who? What's his name?
The protagonist.
So you were down on the character, not David Washington, though.
Yeah, I think he did fine. Okay. It's just I don't know. I don't think he had enough to deal with. And then, I mean, same thing with I want to say Ledecky. That's not her name.
Elizabeth Debicki. Yeah.
And Branagh. I mean, it's just they're given these really.
I like Kenneth Branagh. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, he's doing just. Such basic, like, oh, I'm evil and I do evil things. Why do I do evil things?
Yeah, but I was
because
sold
I'm evil and I
the
want
balls
more.
Down the throat line pretty much sold me on him. I'm like, all right, you can do whatever you want now.
Which line?
That was great. He's like, I'm not going to slit your throat. I'm going to cut it down the middle and shove your balls in there. There's just a certain pride into watching a man struggle to rip his balls out of his throat so he can breathe.
No, that's dumb. And it's just like, how many times are we going to put Kat in danger and like?
Technically, they only put her in danger once in the car chase scene.
That's no. That's what about when she every time she stands up to him. I mean, we're supposed to be like, really, this happens like 4 or 5 times, and they have a confrontation. And it's like the same thing every time is like she stands up to him, he gets mad, and then something distracts him. Mm-hmm. It's just like, I don't care about this right now. This is.
I do think the last scene works though with them. When she kills him, and I think that's all that matters ultimately.
It works better.
Like I think your point is valid.
We needed something to happen,
repetitive.
And at that time something did happen. So yes, it's better than the rest.
Yes. Okay.
And finally something happened with these characters.
But it also felt like there should have been a little bit of fallout in that she did kind of fuck over the plan by doing it when she did it.
Sorry. Yeah. Did I end the world? No, you didn't end the world. You're okay.
Because it was there to try to create some tension to what was happening in the pit, but at the same time, like, I don't think anybody could really get on the wavelength of the stakes to what was happening in the pit.
Nope, nobody could.
So it didn't quite work to add another. It was supposed to be like an added wrinkle at the last second, but it didn't. You're so busy trying to figure out what the fuck's even going on in the bottom of the pit. It didn't really work. I can agree there.
Yeah, and so yeah, and so that's mostly the
script. Not your fave.
No, and it's just maybe the audio better would have made it a little bit easier to follow kind of what was going on, and I think that'll get better as you do rewatches. But it seems like maybe he didn't hit that awesome chord that he usually hits of kind of challenging viewers, but not making it insurmountable. Yeah,
I think if I was going to give anything a knock against it, it would be it doesn't have the big amazing moment.
No.
Or like visual imagery thing.
Well, that last fight scene was really a lot of cool things are happening, but none of it means anything. None of it matters unless you're in the pit.
I would have liked to had 1 or 2 more cool bits with the concept. Like you get the inverted explosion and the person gets trapped in the wall, and then you get the timed demolition with the rocket launchers. But then that's about it. That's about all you really get of like him going for it with the gimmick of that. You have two people, or like I guess the inverted wall and re-enclosing isn't even really. I would like to see more teamwork between red and blue team in some capacity.
I don't really. Maybe there was somewhere in the background. There's just a lot of things happening, and
no, because I think it kind of just gives itself over to what Neil is doing.
Yeah, that finale worked really well with Neil. That was cool, but I mean there's so much going on that didn't mean a thing. It's just
no. I don't disagree with you, but I mean like even on the first time I watched Dunkirk, like when in the finale when all three timelines meet. It's exhilarating. Oh, yeah. Like I just got to chill thinking about it.
That landing, I watched that landing on the beach on YouTube just randomly the other day. I was just like, I just want to watch. I'm watching an emotional landing on a beach is all I want to do right now.
Interstellar has the docking sequence after Bad Damon throws everything into
Damon. I don't know. You got the.
There's a lot of cool things in Interstellar, but I'm just saying that's my standout moment.
Yeah, you don't like the black hole. I like the black hole.
No, I've come around on the black hole. I just rewatched that recently too.
Yeah.
I think Dark Knight Rises action is just fucking huge. And then actually, I can point out a moment in Dark Knight Rises. Bale climbing out of the thing is fucking incredible.
The pit.
Yeah.
Man, we had too much pit action. I was done with the pit.
What was before Rises? That was Inception. Inception's just like the last 50 minutes of Inception.
When the van hits the water.
Yeah.
Just give me that flooded van. No, the hallway fight, I guess, would be the standout there, or the...
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's... that movie that does it for me. Obviously, it's my number one. Dark Knight has, again, multiple incredible sequences.
Sure. Well, I'd say the opener. Similar.
The car chase.
Car chase, you're right. That's good too. But I'd say the bank robbery, I think, is the best.
What's before that? Prestige. I think just like kind of the ending of Prestige. It's been a while since I've seen that, but
the reveal.
The reveal is great. Batman Begins is a little less so, but I would say like the opening of Batman Begins is always very memorable to me. Like just like going up the mount, like the whole. Basically everything before he goes back to Gotham City, I think really stands out as like the best part of that movie. As well as him yelling Rachel in a common joke that happens in our family a lot.
Your family?
Well, my wife and I like to scream Rachel sometimes. But like this has great moments, but it's more like like you said, it's like the aha moments than it is like this crazy visual thing. Which isn't a complaint, but and the movie looks incredible, and it looks like a $250 million movie, but at the same time, it doesn't have that wow moment of like visual awe, even if it all looks great. And maybe I think I'm probably underselling the inverted car chase, a little bit, but I don't know. There's something. This movie felt very grounded for how fucking crazy it is. Does that make a sense?
Not really, no.
No? Like, I don't know. It just felt like he didn't not make it cinematic is the wrong word. It felt grounded in its scope. It felt very like, it never felt like it took a step back to show you, look at this magistry that I'm putting on, that some of those other scenes I just mentioned do, I feel like.
Well, so you think some of those other ones that we just talked about kind of lingered in their own glory a little too much?
No, I'm not over. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, sorry. I told you I didn't know what you were saying.
No, I'm just saying I would not say it's too much. I'm just saying
it just kept moving.
I'm saying he like steps back and like shows you, like it's almost like him showing off. And I'm not saying that in a bad way though.
Okay.
But maybe that's a compliment to him in this movie, in that he is just like, I have this concept and I'm fucking executing it at every turn. And which he does. Like I can't, even if I wish there was a little more to the finale, like you, like it's still fucking insane that he literally had people on set walking backwards.
Yeah.
While other people were moving forwards. and had the chord. Like, it's an amazing feat of direction. He just doesn't have like a swinging dick show off moment, which isn't a bad thing. And maybe I missed it watching it the first time. But
I was wondering, like, as you're saying, how there's a lot going on. He's like really got a detailed plan for how it's all going to work forwards and backwards, and so maybe it's like that was almost like a distraction, and he's like I want to keep everything else super simple, and just that's why maybe it's like the characters kind of come off a little cardboard.
Yeah, I mean that's very James Cameron, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah. No,
I'm
so
not.
That's basically my argument for Avatar.
Yeah. I want to keep it simple, and then enjoy the magistry of my choreography and direction, which I think this movie very much is. Like I said, I have zero complaints. All the little fights and set pieces I really enjoyed and was able to just get into.
See, like the when they're getting the big trucks around to get the heist. I mean, it was cool, but
it was cool. I agree.
It's not taking advantage of the world we created.
Yeah, but he's getting there too, though. Like,
yeah. Well,
but you're right. It's kind of like, why aren't we going in the Matrix when we have the Matrix?
I know. It's so hard to compare. Like, it's not fair to compare that to anything to the Matrix, but it reminds you of it in so many ways. Like, you set up this crazy world, and then okay, now send us in, make us amaze us with this new capability, and it just doesn't happen in this one for me that much.
I can agree with you, especially in comparison to the first Matrix, for sure, which is a masterpiece. I don't know when the last time you watched that movie.
It's amazing.
But we rewatched it with some friends last year, or maybe it was even early this year before everything went to hell, and it was like, oh, this movie is fucking incredible. Like, the last 30 minutes of that movie is just like, yep, you know what you're doing. Really intrigued to see what the hell they're going to do with this next one.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
They shot it in San Francisco.
Bill and Ted.
That was a good
Matrix. Movie. Anyway, to defend James Cameron a bit, that's not usually a fault of his. I mean, I think he usually has a lot of good characters in his movies.
He can. Avatar has the least of them.
Oh yeah, the Avatar is definitely the worst of the of his characters.
But he's going for. He never went for a bigger scale and scope and
technology-wise
technology, and he's also trying to build out a world. So it'll be really interesting to see what he does in the sequels, where he can focus on character and not have to worry about establishing this world. Even though it sounds like he's going to establish a bunch of new. We're going to apparently travel to the entire solar system that of Avatar, or Pandora. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean that Disney World needs to get bigger. They need to expand. They need more worlds.
They need COVID to go away. Yeah, I don't know. What were some of the have we hit all the standout moments for you in Tenet? Is there any we haven't mentioned?
We kind of touched on it, but just how awesome that opener was. Like, how, like, just the movement, the gimmick, what was bringing them there in the first place, and just how it was shot was just beautiful, I thought, and just the flowing camera, and I was just like, we're in a good spot here.
He knows what he's doing.
Oh yeah, it's great. What about the climate change message? How'd that work for you?
Fine. I mean, it's
blew me away.
It's thrown in there, but like, from the idea that this is a movie in a normal world when it was supposed to come out and would have been seen by a lot of people, like, yes, it wasn't the most elegant way of putting it in there, but I think having a movie of this scale and this populist having a message like that is great. And I think it actually works as an interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you need to spend more time on it, or get a rewrite to get it in there maybe a little bit more directly, or I don't know. It was kind of a cool thing to touch on, but just didn't really totally work. He didn't develop it enough, I suppose.
Like, he is dealing with like politics a little bit, and like these people from the future don't give a shit about anybody else, so they're just going to they'll sacrifice you to get what they want. I think that's got a modern parallel. And then climate change is obviously the challenge of our times, and we need to fucking do something about it. So I don't know. Yeah, there was only like 2 references to really talk about. Like,
there's a lot of visual references with the water and the
yeah,
in the
for sure.
Fan.
But I mean, like the
windmill,
like them actually talking about the people in the future. Like they just mentioned them. Like, why are they motivated to do this? But then the climate change thing. I mean, the bad guy drops it. I think it could have been really cool if it felt a little more Dr. Manhattan.
I was just thinking, I was like, if it turned into like a Dr. Manhattan thing, but how would it work?
Well, I mean, you couldn't. I mean, you have to completely change the movie because Kenneth Branagh couldn't be this monster the whole movie.
He'd have to actually be a person and not just.
And then you couldn't have. Then the Debicki thing doesn't make any sense. Which I actually enjoy her overall arc. Like, she gets to be the person she wants to be. Like, I like that. So, do we hit all your faves?
Yeah, I think that is... we could talk about the climbing the wall thing. That was pretty cool.
The reverse bungee thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Just talk about that real quick, I guess.
I really liked how they were just describing it. He's like, we could just bungee... It was a very casual conversation. How, like, we could bungee in reverse. Or bungee up it.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, it was like really casual.
I couldn't hear that at all. All right. Well,
I missed his line. What did he say in the security? What did Niles say to the security guys? I missed that line. I heard my audience laughing. Like they cut. So once he's in there with Priya, once John David Washington's with the Priya, they cut to Pattinson with like 4 security guys. And he says there was a one-liner and I missed it. I didn't hear it.
But it sounds like you missed it too.
Yeah.
No, I have no idea. I don't remember.
Okay. Where are you? I got a good pivot here. Where were you on the Pattinson train before this movie?
Oh,
let me think. I've like seen everything he's done.
Is this the question, or are we starting the question now?
What? Say that again.
Was that the prompt, or
that is the prompt?
Okay.
What did you think of? How were your feelings of Pattinson before this movie? And were you like already a fan, or did this kind of like, was this a revelation for you?
No, Good Time. I was
okay. You had seen Good Time.
I was in on Good Time, and so I was. If you see that, you're in on Pattinson. I mean, how are you going to see that and not be in on him?
Yeah. So. Had you seen Lighthouse yet?
I have not. That was on my list, and I couldn't convince people.
Seen High Life yet?
I don't even know that. What is that?
Oh, it's like him on a spaceship.
Oh, that one. Okay, I forgot that was him.
Yeah,
I've heard. because I was excited about that one, and then the reviews didn't come.
No, High Life is good.
I heard that it's crazy. There's like a crazy.
I think it's overhyped how crazy it is. I mean, yes, it's fucking crazy, but like I think it may have been done a disservice how crazy it is, and it's actually like kind of a beautiful, hopeful ending. And yeah.
Okay. Well, no, he was obviously my favorite character in this movie,
yes.
And I think that. Well, he's also he does the best job, and he also has the best material to work with.
Sure.
Like Neil is in the know the first time you meet him. He knows what the protagonist wants to drink. He knows these things. He was able to summarize how
I didn't think about that little
reverse
connection.
chronological order works. But he's like, oh, is it like this? He's like, yeah, it's exactly like that. That's a great touch. So yeah, he gets. And then he gets the amazing reveal at the end. So yes, he gets.
So how are we interpreting that reveal?
So
I just know the internet has disagreements.
Oh, okay.
Over this. So I'm curious how you interpret.
I'm not aware of this. I do not do Reddit.
I don't either, but I dipped a toe.
Don't. That toe's gonna snap right off. So the way I take it is that after he gives the protagonist back his piece of the agricrag. He is gonna go back in. He's gonna go back in time.
No, we're on the same page there.
In time. And
he goes back again,
and then he
dies,
and he's about to die. Okay,
yeah.
So you're talking about the opera?
No, because that technically happens after.
Oh, are you talking about the big conspiracy theory about him being the kid?
No, I'm not even getting there yet. All right, there's too many Neil conspiracy theories. All right, so let's get that off the table. I don't think he's Max.
Okay. That'd be kind of awesome.
Because I guess they are connected. Because I interpreted the ending that Neil. Why did I say Niall? Neil is moving forward. Protagonist is moving backwards. Correct?
When?
The whole movie, basically.
What?
Well, because Neil is moving backwards too. Not that he's inverted.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. he has moved backwards to this period.
The protagonist story is moving backwards the whole movie.
Okay, so yeah. Now we're on the same page.
So he's eventually going to recruit Neil when protagonist is older.
Yes,
and then Neil is going to be working towards this moment
when he's younger.
No, he's aging.
Yeah, when he's younger is when he is working towards this moment. I guess we all are.
Yes. So we're agreeing that Neil gets recruited at some point
in future years.
He
said they were friends
for the protagonist, who is moving into the past.
The protagonist is moving into the past? Oh, I see what you're saying.
So he says we've met already.
Yeah, I figured that was in Washington's future. Neil's past.
Okay, we're still on the same page.
Cool.
But Neil's past being he is getting so say this movie takes place in 2000.
Uh-huh.
Neil gets recruited in the 80s, not the 2020s.
That's not the way I read it.
All right, so you viewed it as Neil's
going to be recruited
backwards.
Yeah,
at some point
he inverted years and years.
Okay,
and that's how he knew to be in the right place at the right time in the opera, and that's how he's moved to this.
Okay,
point
that makes sense. So that's
why he also had connections. That's how he knew how to call in the cavalry, because in the future there's a cavalry that can be called in.
But couldn't the same concept work if
probably
the
yes.
protagonist
to cut you off? Probably yes.
If the protagonist, if he keeps inverting and moving
going back
towards 1980, scare quotes, when he finally meets Neil, he can tell him everything that he's done and where he needs to be. So then Neil gets recruited, and then he got recruited when he's 20, and now he's 30 something. So he's been working with protagonist for 16 years. But then how come they've been working together?
So, either way,
I guess the protagonist could still be working with Neil, just the older version of protagonist.
Right.
As Neil is okay. But for whatever reason, the protagonist older version of protagonist wasn't in this movie, even though they've already met.
Right. We are getting, because he's the protagonist, we're getting his origin story.
Yeah.
This is Protagonist Begins, not the Protagonist Rises. That's coming later.
You would definitely see a sequel to this movie, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna see it.
I don't think he'll make one.
No.
But you'd be game for the sequel.
I'm not gonna miss a Nolan film regardless.
Okay, I'm just saying. Okay, so it sounds like we didn't solve the Neil problem, but I do, to go back to the ending of the movie, I thought that was a brilliant little thing.
Yes,
like
it gave that great wrap up, put a bow on it.
Yeah, and it gives you like some like, oh, that's sad as you
walk
out.
Sad. It's
even though it's like just this cool heroic moment.
Washington can't stop him either.
Yeah,
because he knows.
Why can't he stop him?
The world.
Because he knows he has to be there. Yeah,
he knows he's about to.
But did he tell him that he was gonna? Yeah, I guess Neil knows he's going to his death.
Does he? Why would he?
Because he says this is the end of. For him, this is the end of a friendship.
Does he say the end? I feel like he said.
I think he says the end.
I thought he said for me.
He says this is the beginning for you and the end for me.
Did he really? I can't hear shit. I guess because
okay, you did have some audio.
Well, we had a speaker die in the middle of the showing. Also.
Oh no! Pro Aaron Taylor Johnson. Yes or no?
You said Aaron
Taylor Johnson. He's the third lead of this movie.
That guy. He's cool.
The third Tenet guy.
I know you're talking about. Yeah. Well,
I like him.
Yeah.
I wish his little lady friend got more to do though. They like kept tiptoeing on giving the girl Tenet leader who was on Blue Team something to do, and then it's like, no, we're not going to give you it.
She gave it hell a brief.
Oh yeah. I love that visual imagery too when Red Team is getting briefed to start, and he's like, Blue Team's over there, and they just gave us a bunch of intel, and they're like, why aren't they showing us? They don't want to see what happened.
They never show us what they're doing.
But see, then they didn't play into that. Like when they land, you see some Blue Team people shambling into the container, but like it felt like it should have been more carnage and been like, oh, there's only 3 of them made it.
There's a lot that they could have done with it. It seems like.
Yeah, I wonder if the studio was just like, it's too. We're letting you do so much, Chris. This is too fucking much. Too confusing.
I feel like he's not having to take notes.
No, that's true. And some people would say it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, maybe not a good thing this time, and maybe he's going to have to take him next time, unfortunately.
Well, no, I don't know. The movie's going to make $400 million probably in box office receipts in the world.
Does that break even?
Probably. Yeah. They say it's 250.
I mean, bad luck.
But from the fact that it came out in COVID is insane.
Bad luck.
And I'm sure this movie's going to do insane home video stuff whenever that happens because nobody got to see the movie. I still wouldn't be surprised if they dropped this out for $30 on VOD in a month to try to make up for that US audience.
Is a lot, but...
Yeah, I mean, I would have paid $50 to watch this on VOD at home, like no problem. Like I would do that for this. I would do it for Bond. I would do it for Black Widow. So Tenet, see it. You're not telling somebody not to see this movie.
No, I think that's the first thing I said in my review is see it anyway.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's just crazy, and have a speaker that works completely.
Yeah, have a speaker that works. Oh wait, I did have another question I wanted to ask you. Let me get back to.
Do I like reverse bungee cords? Yes.
What would you have to talk about Nolan a little bit? He had 3 movies come out last decade.
Oh, yeah.
Of those 3, Inception, Dark Knight Rises, and Dunkirk. Would any of those made? Oh, and Interstellar. He had 4 movies.
Jeez, yeah, that's true.
Which of those 4 would have made your decade's best last decade?
Dunkirk would be quite high.
You and
I would say
Quentin Tarantino.
What?
You and Quentin Tarantino.
With Tarantino?
Tarantino put that in his top 3.
Yeah. Tino and I we're simpatico like that.
See eye to eye.
Yeah, that's why I call him Tino.
You're the only person that calls him Tino.
The 2 of us. I mean, he refers himself to himself as Tino. Person. He's like, Tino don't like that movie. And I'm like, I know Tino. So yeah, no, that'd be maybe one of my top 15 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then Dark Knight Rises isn't going to make it on there.
No.
So then we got Interstellar, which it might make in the high 80s or low 90s maybe, and then Inception might be 30s or 40s. I'd have to see it again to make sure. I don't know, it's pretty damn good.
But it would be on there. It wouldn't be like hanging on.
No, it's in there solid. Yeah.
Yeah. I only put Dunkirk and Inception on there. I wonder.
Obviously, I can't complain too much. I barely kept Interstellar on there.
But I wonder if I redoing it, like I mean, Interstellar. I think it's better every time you watched it. Looking at the bottom of my list, do I like it more than Steve Jobs or Marriage Story or Shutter Island? Possibly.
Not Steve Jobs. You got to.
I don't know. It would be competing there. We can get into that conversation. I think we should do another one of these pretty soon. We never talked about my actual list.
No, we never did it.
So we should talk about that. That'll be our next episode.
So we're skipping. Guillermo is going to get pissed at us. We just keep pushing him back further and further.
Know what he doesn't know.
I've been keeping it updated.
Guillermo, he won't. He said nope. We're not doing it again. Okay, so we can save that. But interesting. So, but you would maybe go all 3. not a knock on you. I see more movies than you, so that might be that.
Yeah.
And Interstellar almost did make it, I would say. Did I leave it on here?
Lady Macbeth would not make it. But
no, we're not getting into this now. We're not litigating this yet.
I act like I don't. I liked it. I did like Lady Macbeth.
Save those takes for later.
When?
Let's see if I had it on my runner. Yeah, when we do another podcast.
I mean, 2021.
I don't even know if I had Interstellar. Oh, I did. I did have it in my my runner-up batch of movies,
along with
a ton. And like, there's another 80 movies in this runners-up list.
Really,
I did not rank them. So, but I think it would have been close, especially if I had rewatched it. But yeah.
What about and you're giving Prestige a little bit of a hit just because it's not.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Okay, I was like, wait, you haven't seen it?
No, I haven't. I don't think I've seen. Let's see.
It's got to be his most character-based.
Yes.
Film. It's not.
I have given it a review. I don't think I've watched it since Letterboxd has been around, which means it's been a decade almost since I've seen it.
Gotcha.
So that's the only thing. It's not fresh enough in my brain to properly rate it.
Sure.
I would say, but I do love it. I gave it 4.5 stars. So
pretty good.
Why aren't you on Letterboxd?
Because I feel like it's going to suck up my entire life, and then I'll have no life left. Because
if you ever feel like giving your life up, come join us.
I'm sure it'd be fun, which is the problem.
Okay. We got anything else on Tenet? Did we miss anything? It's surprising that we both and not that I'm much higher on the movie than you, I think, but it's you still liked it, and we disagree on major we disagree on two characters entirely almost, and the bad guy and the protagonist and how much we appreciated them. But I guess we are kind of similar on all the action though. So
it sounds like we are,
as cool as it is, we wish it could have been maybe a smidge bigger.
You just are impressed by stuffing balls into throats, and I'm not. That's the difference.
That's great. I was laughing really loud.
Have you tried to you make the hand gesture and say the word Tenet in just casual conversation and see if anybody picks up on it?
No, because sadly not enough people have seen the movie to even play along with that.
Not everybody can be in. It's a select group.
The movie actually underutilized it. I think Pattinson does it one other time. That's it.
Doing it right now.
Oh, I don't. I'm looking at Letterboxd.
Okay. See? You see what Letterboxd does? Takes away from the people in your life.
That's going to do it for this one. Grant and I are going to discuss my Decade's Best list on the next episode, and hopefully that'll come out relatively soon after this one, so we can be friends again. We should probably record it before the election, in case the world just completely devolves into utter chaos. Yeah. So
post
we can at least have your thoughts on my Decade's Best list for posterity.
Have so that the generations rebuilding can
they'll find it.
They'll find it.
These are the 10. Wouldn't that be something if the world fucking collapses and then
this is all
the archive of the movies is our Decade Best?
Apparently there's a movie.
Guys, there's only 8 movies apparently.
We've done some analysis on the list, and it turns out the most successful movie of the 2010s was, in fact, what would it be? It'd be
for us, it would have been Hollywood or something.
What?
Of the stuff we recorded?
No, I'm thinking of shoot, why can't I?
Is it Cats?
Ghost Story. Yeah, or Marcy Marlene.
Martha Marcy May.
Did
you ever watch Cats?
No. Okay. It looks terrifying.
Well, if you can ever get in a group of people to watch it, I would recommend doing it.
Okay.
That was one of the last. I think I saw a shit ton of movies the last couple of weeks before this started. It was in the air the weekend I saw Cats, but I was relaxed and had fun. But I was also feeling slightly under the weather at the movie when I saw that.
It's like how I watched 28 Days Later after I had my wisdom teeth taken out, and it was a whole different experience.
But seeing Cats with a crowd, and it was a rowdy screening at Draft House, so nice. People were allowed, and people weren't actually most of the time it was bad jokes. People tried to be funny and it didn't work, but there was enough good bits, and then there was a running gag with Judi Dench's cat for the last half of the movie.
Is this going to turn into The Room?
No, I don't know, but they definitely like I said, I didn't see it in its initial run. I saw it. They were doing basically bi-weekly screenings of Cats in San Francisco before the pandemic.
What was that on Twitter that it, like people keep rating it 1 star, but they keep rewatching it or something like that?
Yeah. No, the rewatchable people average rating was like in the 3s. The best that came up again because Matt Stringer had a great tweet because he was like, I saw Cats and I don't even remember it. And it was if you saw Cats, you definitely remember it. Okay. On that note, meow.
Oh, yeah. Like not lion, but a cat.
They don't hear the lion. We'll be back to talk
everything besides Guillermo.
A lot of movies. The last decade in movies.
All right, I'm
sure Grant will have plenty to disagree with me about. Really lining up to go down on Lady Macbeth. Oh, that sounded dirty. I'm Zach Oldenburg. Find me wherever you can find at Zach Oldenburg. Go to middleofrow.com. Rate and review the podcast. Those are all good things. Grant, where can we find you on the internet?
At $5 Wrench on Twitter.
$5 Wrench. Not on Letterboxd.
No.
Thanks, everybody. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Good talk, buddy.
Mm-hmm.